All right, you ready? So here's like the intro part. To bra or not to bra? Exploring a journey of life's unpredictable twists and turns, how to claim your personal power from within and lead a fun, fulfilled, soul-driven life, one epic, hilarious, insightful coffee chat at a time. Let's get real. Let's get raw. This is your host, Em, on Bra or Not to Bra. Hello and welcome to Bra or Not to Bra. I am so happy that you are here listening to this today, whether this is your first episode and you are just diving in, or if you're returning and you resonate with what this is all about. Either way, I am really pumped for today's episode because today is not an interview. I'm not having a guest. I am my own guest. I'm interviewing myself, essentially. I think this is really important because I want to give you all a sense of who I am, why I'm here speaking into this fancy microphone, and really just see if my story resonates with you so that you know if you want to stick around. I am super confident that there's so much for you to gain from this podcast and the episodes in here. And I also know that it's so important to feel connected to whoever you're spending your time listening to. So I am taking you on a virtual podcast date. Let's dive right in. I'm Emily, your host. I am a health and mental wellness coach. What does that mean? Basically, I am a transformational life coach that specializes in habit change. What I do is take clients through a transformation of shifting that neurological connection between what they do and what's pleasurable to them so that they can get to where they want to be and live their most pleasurable life at the same time. It just coincides. There's no willpower. There's no have-tos involved. You're simply gravitating towards what makes you amped up in life, and the rest falls into place. Yes, I know that sounds too good to be true, but stick with me here. It's in my story that I am going to share with you that lets you in on why that's possible, what that meant to me, and how I got to what I'm doing today so that I can help other people make that shift too. And so I'm going to start there. You ready? Let's get into the juicy stuff. My journey. So it all started when I was born. No, just kidding. Here it goes. From a young age, I have experienced anxiety, and I always knew that I was different, that something was going on, that life wasn't like this for everyone else. But I didn't know what was going on. And I started seeing a therapist when I was 15, got diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder, which is a very, very real thing. And it also wasn't the full picture of what was going on, even though I didn't know that at the time. And so when I got to college, I initially gained the typical freshman 15. I was no longer seeing my therapist weekly anymore. I had a water skiing accident my year going into college, so I could no longer move my body in the way I wanted to. I was always doing sports in high school. And then you add in dorm food and, hey, alcohol. And honestly, I think it was more like 20 pounds. And then my anxiety continued to act up. And sophomore year, I experienced my first real depressive episode, and it was scary as shit. I didn't want to go out for my birthday. I didn't understand what was happening, but I knew I wasn't alone in feeling that. So then I'm going through college, and my junior year, I studied abroad. And it was the worst semester of my life, which you don't usually hear when people tell you that they study abroad. I went to Paris, and I was in a very, very bad spot. I didn't know this at the time, but I was struggling with severe OCD, and I was going to go home. I was getting sick all the time. I didn't understand why my friends wanted to frolic around Europe when I wanted to stay in my shoebox of a dorm room and watch Netflix all day. But the one thing that made me feel better was the croissants and the baguettes at the bakery right behind me. And I'm talking like I was having like 3 croissants a day, like a baguette with cheese and jam for dinner, like full out. And little did I know that in doing so, it was literally triggering my anxiety. So what I was doing to help me calm down, to give me some pleasure, was actually on a physiological level. All that sugar, fatty, processed food was triggering the anxiety cycle. But that's what was getting me through it. So I come home 30 pounds and 4 months later. I still like, it's just crazy still to think about. And I didn't recognize who I was. That's the first moment when I looked in the mirror and did not recognize the woman staring back at me. And if you've ever experienced that, you know that it's one of the scariest things in the world, because you feel totally disempowered and disconnected and confused and almost like you're at a halt in this trajectory of your life that you had been envisioning for yourself, because you're so confused on how the hell you got to where you're at right now. Fast forward a little bit. I entered my master's year of college. I was an accounting major. Yes, I'm a super nerd, proud of it. And like I was one of those annoying kids, you guys, who got like a 4.0 in college and also went out 5 nights a week. I don't know how I did it. Looking back, actually, it's very obvious that my OCD was driving the studying that allowed me to continue getting the good grades while I was doing all that, but whatever. So I'm in my master's year and I am at a very, very, very low point. I almost dropped out, which no one would have expected that. It was so unlike me, high achieving, excited, happy Emily. And so at that point, my parents came down and it was really bad. I was about to drop out. I didn't really know where the future was going from here. What I did know is that if I did not get help or do something to change where I was at in this moment, I was not going to be in a good place or be in a place at all. And so at that point, we scoped out the best of the best. I remember my parents and I, we like huddled and just researched for so long, reaching out to everyone we know for the best therapists and psychiatrists in the city in Chicago. I was in school in Champaign at the time. Finally made an appointment with someone promising. I walk into the psychiatrist's office, and this is really funny because while I'm talking to you about this, I can see her office from my balcony right now. So it's all kind of coming full circle. So I walk into my psychiatrist's office. I was 23 years old at this point, and within the first 5 minutes, she diagnoses me with severe OCD. And I was like, excuse me, what? OC what? Like, sorry, you're wrong. I can't believe I just drove 3 hours up here from school for someone to tell me, for me to pay money for someone to tell me something that's like obviously not true. Because when you've gone your whole life and over and over and over again, you've been told by professionals what is going on with you, it becomes your identity. And someone telling you something else, even though I was searching for someone to give me some other information, still freaked me out. So I took a deep breath. I was like, chill the F out. And it all started to come together. Like it was like sorting books in a bookshelf. Like, this is why this happened. This is why I did this. This is what was causing this. And all of a sudden, everything just started to make sense. And so that was the point where my life completely changed. I started getting the right help, doing intensive therapy. And so here's the shift in how this all plays into my physical well-being and why the hell I'm here talking to you today. So I go to see my therapist, and at the end of our first session, she says, okay, Emily, try and stay away from sugary, fatty, processed foods. They can trigger your anxiety and OCD tendencies. And I'm like, girl, I am trying not to touch a freaking doorknob 3 times. Do not try and take away my cookies right now. Like, that is not even in my radar. Those are like kind of saving my life at the moment. So no, swear to God, you guys, I almost didn't go back to her. Like it really rubbed me the wrong way. That's how addicted I was to this form of medicine for me at the moment. And then I went back to school and I was doing the therapy and all the goods. And I was really getting into a much better place. I didn't drop out. Yay. Then a few months passed, and I have a specific memory of opening up a cabinet in my apartment. And I must have been looking for something to eat because I had this memory trigger of what my therapist said during our first session. And then I rolled my eyes to myself thinking about what she said. And I was like, oh, so annoying, but like, maybe there's something to what she said. Because I realized that for 23 years, I did not know that life could be like this. I did not know that people could live their day-to-day lives in this mindset. For those 3 months, I was experiencing a totally new baseline of life. And I was so curious about it. I was like, holy shit, I didn't know life could get this good. How much better can it get? What else do I not know is out there that I haven't even known existed for 23 years because I couldn't even see the door to open? And that's when my therapist's voice popped into my head of, try and stay away from sugary, fatty, processed foods. They can trigger your anxiety. And I was like, all right, maybe there's something to that. If I didn't know life can be this good, how much better can it get? And if that's a piece of the puzzle, then I am freaking trying it right now because I was like high on this new life that I was discovering for myself. And it was so invigorating. I started eating healthier, not to lose weight, but for my mental health. And when I was focused on bettering my mental state through nourishment, that is when my mind felt better. That is when I wanted to start moving. When I wanted to start moving my body, it felt so good and I wanted to continue nourishing it in the way I was. The more I did that, the more my mental health got better. And it was just this beautiful cycle. And within 6 months, I had released 40 pounds. Saying that out loud sounds so weird now because it almost seems like a different person ago. And people started asking me how I did it. They were like, what program did you do? Did you use a diet? Like, I remember some of my friends were actually concerned. What was really happening is they were noticing shifts in my behavior. When they came down and visited me my master's year, and I truly didn't want to order pizza every night at 3 a.m., they were like, what happened to you? And I was like, I don't know, but I'm obsessed with it. And it made me realize that the decisions that we make as women are so much more complex than we allow them to be. Now, that's kind of opposite of what most people say, that they get to be simple. And here's the thing, they do get to be as simple as you want it to be once you allow yourself to realize everything that's around you that's trying to get into this bubble that's your head to control and shift the decisions that you're making. But when you start stepping into your own life, stepping into your own body, mind, soul, everything, then the choices that you start to make just align. And all of the physical side effects, whether it's weight release, whether it's weight gain, whether it's muscle gain, whether it's having a better digestive system, whether it's getting sick less, your acne clears up, whatever the quote unquote result is, is simply a side effect of you following what feels good for you. And the first step to getting there is knowing that you're worthy of creating these empowering decisions that allow you to live the life that you deserve. All right, that was part 1. Thanks for listening in, and get pumped for part 2, where we go into the next phase of my journey, aka how the hell I went from getting to the point of realizing that life gets to be awesome to then leaving my corporate job and being here today talking to you as a health and mental wellness coach, because it's a great journey. So tune in. Hope you enjoyed this episode today. Love you all so much. Talk to you soon.